Well, hey there, everyone. So this week we're going to do something a little bit different again, because inspiration hath struck us. So you know what that means. Air dry clay. So I'd seen somebody that had made a little air dry clay snake pot like sitter. So I kind of wanted to do that, but for my little bookshelf that I have above my bed, because I needed some more decoration for it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm gonna make a little air dry clay snake to sit on my shelf and like hang down and be cute. So that's what we're gonna do. And since this video is gonna be posting at the beginning of August, which I consider spoopy month, we're gonna make it a little spoopy. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna at least start with one. I don't know if I'm gonna do more than one. We'll see. So I think I'm just gonna make like a little snake. So basically what I need to do is have it on the shelf. And so part of it's going to be up on the shelf and part of it's going to dip below. So this might be a little tricky to do. And then to give it that little spoopy aspect is I'm going to give it a little witch hat maybe. Yeah. So that's our plan for this week. So I'm going to go ahead and get this rolled out. And let's go make a little snake. So while I'm making this, I figured I could give you a little tale, if you will, as to my fear of snakes. So pretty much, well, first of all, I live in Arizona, so I have to be cautious of where snakes are, and so I don't get like bit and stuff. So that's part of the reason why I have like a small fear of snakes. But the other reason is I have a tale for you. So I'd like to preface this tale by saying both me and the snake were perfectly fine. But an event did happen. So pretty much what happened was a few years ago, I was like throwing away a piece of trash in like one of the back rooms over here. And at the time I was wearing Crocs. It's an important detail for the story. So I was wearing Crocs and I went to go throw away a piece of trash, and I like walked in, threw the trash away, and then I came back through that room, and then like through the corner of my eye I saw something moving. Lo and behold, it was like a 4-foot long snake. So my fight or flight kicked in and my flight took over, and so in my attempt to run away I accidentally stepped on the snake. But since I was wearing Crocs and has like a really soft bottom, my foot literally did like womp and just like absolutely stood on the side of my ankle, spraining my ankle in the process. And so I was stuck there in a stupor. It's like when you were in a dream, like when you're like trying to run in dreams and you can't. That's what happened in real life. So I was literally stuck there for like 2 seconds, like trying to like get my bearings before running out of the room, screaming at the top of my lungs after stepping on a snake, which surprisingly didn't bite me. And so I had like gone to, I like locked all the animals in the room and in my room away from the snake, and then went to a neighbor's house until the snake could be evacuated from my house. So yeah, the snake was fine. It was put back into the desert. And I had a sprained ankle, and so ever since then I've had an extra big fear of these little snaky boys, because that happened. So basically, to get the shape of the snake is I just rolled it out, and then I used some water to smooth out the finer details that I wanted, and to make it a little bit easier to mold. Then to get it in the sitting position for when it'll be on my shelf, I just use this box and I put some parchment on it. And then later you'll see that I taped the back of this parchment so that's not sledding all over the place. But I laid it down, and since the clay was still a little dry, it was like cracking in places. So I again just used some water to smooth out all those cracks and seal up everything. And then I just use some tin foil to prop up the head so that once it's dry, it stays in that position. And it was nice having the parchment here because I could like stick the clay to the parchment. So like for the tail here, I could have it do like a little swoop, and then it would stay once it was dry. Okay, it's a little lumpy, little dumpy. But I think this is gonna be where I stop messing with them before I screw them up completely. I'm a little afraid that this is gonna be too heavy when he sits, but I do not want to mess with this anymore. I put his little eyeballs in. It's gonna need a little bit of maybe sanding tomorrow. But I do not want to touch him anymore, and I need to let him rest so that I can paint him. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a witch hat, and see how this all goes. Okay, I did a little bit more work on the snake's head. I'm liking it a little bit better. So now I'm gonna not touch it anymore. Now I can start on the witch hat. So basically I just rolled out a little form here, and then I cut a circle, and I just smoothed out the edges of the hat, but I didn't all the way smooth it out because I kind of liked that like rugged cut kind of look. So I just smoothed it out slightly with some water and then made the little witch hat. And to put it on, I just scored it a little bit on both the bottom of the cone and then the rim of the hat, and then put some water on each side and then placed it on, and that kind of solidifies the molding. And then for the books, so I'm just basically going to cut out 4 little squares, and that's going to be my books. So I am going to again score each of the books and put some water on it so that when I stack them on top of each other, they're less likely to break apart. And then I'll just stack them in like a rugged looking kind of way that books would sit. And then I'm just going to take some water and smooth out the edges, not too much, but enough to make it look a little bit better. Then I decided to make 2 candles that I will place on the snake. So I just made little cylinders and made little like indents that made it look like the candle was running, and then put like a teensy tiny little flame in the center of the top of each of them. Alright, it is the next morning and things have been dried. So I got my little witch hat, some books to put on there, and some candles to put in this little loop here. So now I just need to paint everything and then put a Mod Podge on it and then glue some things on it and hopefully it works. So I was still too nervous to handle the snake, so we're going to handle the little knickknacks for now. So starting with the hat, I'm just going to paint it straight up black, both the top and the bottom. Then for the books, it's going to get like just a base coat of white so that everything's nice and plain when I start to paint it. So then I'm just going to paint the individual books, their respective colors, and I'm going to do some pages around the other side of the books and some little lines defining some of the stuff on the spine of these books to make them look a little bit better. And lastly is the candles, and you can see I have my little makeshift model holder, which I did buy a new one, but it's not coming till after this project, that I can use for actual miniature model painting. But so for the candles, I just stuck them on these little magnets so I can hold them, and I'm just going to paint the base of them a nice yellow, and then give the candle or the flame just a nice bright orange. And then tragedy hath strucketh. So I was trying to sand the snake down and it just broke in half. So I'm gonna try some Gorilla Glue to try and fix our baby boy. Once I was happy that the glue had stuck, I went ahead and started to paint this snake a whole base coat of white on both sides. And then it broke again. That glue, I guess, was not fantastic, so I re-glued it with a different type. I used super glue this time, and hopefully our baby boy pulls through. While my snake was drying, I'm just gonna go ahead and start putting a varnish on all of my little pieces. So the varnish just goes on like both the candles, the hat, and the books. Okay, it is day 3, and as you can see, yesterday we had to do 2 emergency surgeries on our boy here. I got the hat done and the, what's it called? I got the gloss varnish put on it, as well as the candles and the books. So, don't mind that. So the last thing to do is to paint our snake here, but I'm so nervous to like even touch him. He seems sturdy enough, but like even a little wobbly. So I'm going to carefully paint this bad boy, and then I need to put the varnish on him, and then I need to glue all of the little knickknacks on him. So let's do that. I've been procrastinating. And lastly, the snake gets painted and then a varnish put on it as well. The last step is to put on my little pieces. I should have used like a super glue or something, but I didn't feel like doing that. So I just used hot glue to place all of the items where they needed to be. And now we are ready for the final look. here's our little guy. I'm very glad that this worked. I was a little afraid that I would have to like cancel this project because of the 2 emergency surgeries that I had to do. But it worked, and I was like the most nervous to paint the snake itself. I actually like tried to paint a bit and then I didn't like it, and then I repainted it white. But yeah, I think I like, don't show me. There we go. I think I like the little spotted little bits of the snake. The witch hat turned out really good. The books and candles turned out really good. So overall, a success. And I've already put it on my bookshelf and already been afraid that it was a snake. So this will be fun to scare every single person that walks by my snake. So yeah, I got a little guy. I forgot what I named him. I think it was maybe like Bartholomew or something was his name. I feel like that fits our little wizard here. So yeah, thanks for crafting with me this week. I'll probably be back to, oh no, next week. Next week's video is up in the air. It might be a little something different depending on some plans that may or may not go through. So stay tuned for next week and see what happens. But for now, thanks for watching Bartholomew in the making. So anywho to do, if you like what I did, go and like and subscribe. I post most Saturdays, mostly at noon, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.